Clovercrest Media Group presents a CMG podcast. Keys to the City.
Keys to the city, baby. When you see us, so you know.
Crossed up by Kobe, little floater to Shaq, and then Shaq goes like this, and the rest is history. Pay attention. Don't tell me what to do, Devil Woman. Speaking of those Lakers, but I hold on, stun. But I didn't make my. I didn't make. I said Denver's gonna win.
Yeah, you did. You said that.
There's no other show like that.
Clovercrest is doing great things right now.
Streaming everywhere.
The Cross'em Wrestling Entertainment Podcast, presented by Clovercrest Media, is what you AEW fans have been looking for. Noah Cross and Tyler Bard give their take on every week's episode of Dynamite. If you are a massive AEW fan, then it is time to join us every Sunday at noon Eastern Standard Time. Stay Cross'em.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is our main event.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Throwing Jabs Podcast. I'm Big Jace, joined as always by my man Joe Guy and Jared Jones. We got a lot to talk about. Let's kick things off with the recap of last week's big fight. Ryan Garcia knocks out Luke Campbell in the 7th round via TKO. Jared, what did you think of that fight?
I gotta say that I thought during it and after it, a lot of the things that I thought before it. A lot of the things that I said on the show were right. I talked about the Tank Davis fight. I heard other people on the internet compare the two fights afterward. I called the round. That being said, I saw some things I didn't think I would see that I liked in Ryan Garcia. He responded like a champion to being knocked down. He walked over at the end of the fight and said, I learned a lot from this. I've never been knocked down before, and thanked Luke Campbell. And then I saw some things with his chin out in the air and those looping punches Joe was talking about that I have to say I didn't really like. So I saw some things on both sides for Ryan Garcia, some things I liked and some things I didn't like that I didn't really expect. But the inner workings of this fight are what I expected. We got what I said we were going to get. And I bet Joe 10-1 push-ups odds. And I have to admit, I was really nervous early in the fight when my guy went down. I had 10-1. I don't know, man. Those are big odds.
Yeah, listen, I think we were both really right about this fight. And look, fortunately, Ryan Garcia, and this is what I'm talking about when I really evaluate a guy is what does he say post-fight? And that was my first question to you guys was that night was, anybody hear the post-fight yet? I'd love to hear what he has to say. Because if you're going to come out here and be a clown and be like, you got lucky in the second and I, no, you didn't. I'm glad that he walked away with the recognition that there's some things that need to be fixed. Jared, I was just talking to Jace before the show just started. Think Holly Holm and Ronda Rousey. And the way Holly kept tagging her with that left. That's footwork. That's keeping your foot outside instead of or inside rather than outside against the lefty. Garcia's 5'11". He likes to fight in the pocket and give up that reach advantage with his chin up. Again, you're asking to be punched in the face. I told you I thought Campbell could win. Two things gave me concern. Number one, he's not elite. Luke Campbell's a very, very good fighter. Not elite. An elite fighter, I think, knocks Garcia out in the second round. That's, I think, the biggest concern for Ryan Garcia. If he was fighting a Josh Taylor, a Lomachenko, a Bud, he's out. He's out cold in the second.
Are you sure he's not knocking those guys out? Listen, this is what I saw at Ryan Garcia. It's like the Justin Gaethje of boxing. This guy got after it. He was throwing big shots and was willing to take the sacrifice and take the risk of going in and perhaps getting caught, and he got clipped. It's funny. I thought he was much more technically sound. And I believe that those guys probably outwork him and outbox him. But Just like Tank Davis, when those guys are willing to throw those big shots, don't bet money on that fight. I like Ryan Garcia. I'm guessing you guys probably like Tank Davis, but don't anybody put money on that fight because the wrong punch ends the fight for either guy.
Garcia reminds me a lot of Amir Khan. Again, flat-footed, chin up. Again, and this is what I'm saying. Look, I like Ryan Garcia. I think he's a great fighter. I'm glad he took some. I'm glad he took some positives away from the second and didn't try to wipe that away. Didn't try to act like that there's not an issue. To hear him talk about knocking out Tank Davis in the second makes me laugh because, like I said, he barely survived the second himself. Don't talk crazy. Learn your lesson. Go out there, take care of business. Talk smack after the fight. Take Tank Davis out and tell me how great you are when the fight's over, and I'll be way more impressed.
All right.
I think he can do that.
I bet you he can. And again, Jared, for him to walk away saying, I got some work to do, I saw some flaws, I feel good about him then. Then that tells me he's going to go to the gym. They're going to point out the things he's doing wrong, and he's going to fix those things, and maybe he can knock out Tank in the second. But if he takes
guys in his camp that can do it
he does to Luke Campbell, if he does the same thing footwork wise against Tank Davis, no chance. He will get knocked out. And his only hope will be that he lands one before Tank does.
But at his age, don't you think that at his age, taking the kind of fights that we're talking about, that he's still capable, his plasticity is still there enough to be able to make these adjustments? I still like a lot what I see. I hear what I want to hear from him. I see what I want to see from him. We realized right now that there's more growth that needs to take place for him, that there's definite areas that can be exposed by some of those greater fighters you just mentioned. But this is at this spot, it's what I want to see more than Tank Davis. Tank Davis has been talking about it. And this guy wants those fights.
I like Garcia better than I like Tank Davis as a person. As a fighter, I think head to head, again, Tank being a lefty, I would be, again, based off of what just happened, I'm concerned. Go into the gym for a few months, straighten that out. Tell me you straightened it out, and I would probably take Garcia over Davis. But if I'm going to see the same one I saw Saturday night, I would have to go with Tank. I would.
Well, and prior to the knockdown, I said, because that's boxing 101, that left-hander, you're fighting for that outside foot. When a conventional's fighting a southpaw, whoever has that front foot on the outside has the advantage because your power has further to go, so it's gathering a little bit more momentum on its way to your target. So that gives you the leverage advantage when you have that foot on the outside. Garcia was fighting like he didn't know that. Prior to the knockdown, I'm texting you guys like, oh my God, do you see his foot? This is what he's supposed to be doing, because you see those guys stepping on each other's feet all the time.
Yep.
And there's never just a guy giving that away and saying, you can have that, I'm going to win anyways. That's what he did. But that's a boxing no-no, man. You got to fight for that outside foot.
Yeah, I get that. The thing, I love Ryan Garcia. Like I said multiple times, I'm vain. He has my same last name, so I'm going to root for him. But he said a lot. He's done a lot of good things. He's also done a lot of bad things. I don't like him training with the Paul brothers. I know he's got Canelo's same trainer, which the past couple fights, Joe and I were talking about it. Hasn't looked too great for Canelo, so I don't know where that's going. I do think I like Ryan Garcia has so much potential. He just needs to shore up the people around him, I think, because he isn't as crazy as Tank Davis as far as the people around him, pulling him, making him talk all this smack. But as far as just the art of boxing, I feel like the people around him are taken away from that. Do you agree, Jared?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You can only get caught up in so much of this hype, this Apollo Creed stuff before you run into a Dolph Lundgren. I totally agree. I think that most of these guys would be better served just putting their phones down and getting off of as fighters. But hey, it's the same thing I keep saying. That's a thing of the past. That go off into the woods and do your training camp by yourself and focus in and leave your wife for 10 weeks. And I mean, guys still go off to training camp, but the idea that you're totally going to remove yourself from social media handicaps you as an athlete, especially in the fight game, in ways that it never has in the past. You need that. Like I said, an honest trainer in today's fight game would walk in and say, you're the best. You do the most push-ups. You got the best jump rope work in the whole gym. Your pad work is on point. You're the best spar. You got the potential to be a future champion physically, but what does your Snapchat look like? How big is your following on Facebook and Instagram? Because that's going to be important too. We're going further and further toward that. And we have to be honest about it. Or we're going to let these guys control the narrative, and people are going to think the Paul brothers are the greatest fucking fighters in the world. Excuse me.
You're right. But I want to correct you, because them social media, taken away from social media, doesn't take away from their athleticism and them being an athlete. It takes away from the promotion and selling the fight. I mean, who's number one pound for pound right now? Bud Crawford. And he isn't a big presence on social media. He's still a hell of an athlete, still the best fighter in the world.
You make that trade.
Yeah.
You make that trade. There's theories about this that go into your social life, and your success in life are directly going to reflect off of one another. That the more concerned you are with how you fit in with other people, the less you're really going to thrive. You know, a lot of loners went a long way, stuck in a basement 20 years and had this great idea that was able to flourish because of that by themselfness. Yes, the more they are able to stay away from that stuff, the better fighter they will be. The more we keep our kids away from technology, the better thinkers they will be. True, right? But if we keep them away from technology completely, they won't be able to apply for a job by the time they're able to do it. So what are we really gaining them by keeping them away from technology? When it becomes so globalized that they need it to be successful in that profession, they're going to have to learn it. So yes, the answer to your question is absolutely. They get away from all of that shit, they will perform better in their fights. But can they and be successful at what they're doing? Bud Crawford is a perfect example.
All right. Now, let's move on from the recap to a fight announcement. We got a fight. It was originally scheduled for that December card that ended up being Figueiredo versus Moreno. Petr Yan versus Aljamain Sterling, rescheduled for UFC 259 in March. Jared, I know you were disappointed when this fight got called off. What do you expect from this fight in March?
That girl's boring. She makes my Petr Yan versus Aljamain Sterling. I think I'm taking Yan. I was disappointed, man, because this is going to be a great fight. It's so tough to try to figure out who's going to win this fight. You know, styles make fight, when these guys clash, I usually have a pretty good idea what I think's going to happen. This is another one you don't want to bet on. Joe, you got a dog in this fight?
I tell you what, I got, we're going to be talking about our fighters of the year. I got Petr Yan on my short list. As a matter of fact, I think this guy's got more tools in his arsenal than the average bear. And he's got, to me, if he beats Sterling, and I feel like he will, he's got a lot of good fights, and I feel like they're all really winnable, whether it be Sandhagen or Aldo or Barias. I mean, there's a lot of guys in there, and as I was really evaluating Petr Yan, I thought this could very well be his year. I think my man is uniquely and primely positioned to make a nice run this year in that division. I think he does beat Aljamain Sterling, and I think he then steamrolls this division for all of 2021.
I'm going to take the opposite side of the fence. Jose Aldo, past his prime. Uriah Faber, John Dodson, Jimmy Rivera. The only person, and all those were from 2019 to now. Those are Petr Yan's last 4 fights. The only name that really breaks out of me is like a legit contender, legit. I mean, Aldo's good, but he's not the Aldo since he was knocked out by Conor McGregor. He's just not that same Aldo. And then Faber took a bunch of time off, came back, got a win, and then just got demolished by Petr Yan. Jimmy Rivera's a tough guy, but he's just that gatekeeper. He can't get to that upper echelon. And then John Dodson, I mean, he's good. He's flashy, but he's a prelim guy. Petr Yan, I mean, Aljo has done great stuff. He's fought everyone in the bantamweight division. The only 4 guys that Petr Yan is, the only notable guys are those last 4 fights. I like Aljamain to make this a tough fight, and I think this goes to decision. I think this is, I mean, we're going to be talking about fighter of the year coming up. I think this is a fight of the year for 2020 possible. This is going to be a good fight, and I'm excited for it.
Jan beat everybody or can beat everybody in that division as far as I'm concerned. Again, I just look at the tools in the guy's toolbox. They're immense. And again, that's nothing to take away, nothing away from Aljamain Sterling. Very good fighter in his own right. I just think Jan's the guy. I think that's the guy in that division. A lot of the guys in that division, like Aldo, have kind of past their prime, as you just sort of alluded to. So I feel like really whichever guy wins this fight puts himself in the driver's seat at least through 2021 and probably into 2022 and beyond.
If this division wants to take off and flourish, I think these 2 are the best bet, and this needs to be like a trilogy or something to make this division up there with the heavyweights, lightweights, welterweights, all that.
I don't think we can say that yet, though. I think you gotta see. Well, okay. So we walk in, and 27 seconds in, Jan knocks out Sterling, and we need 2 more. No,
I'm not. I'm just saying this has the potential. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it's going to happen.
Yeah,
I just said it was great. It couldn't be a fight of the year.
Did you think he wanted a trilogy this year?
Right now. Just have him fight 3 times.
Every 4 months, you and me, winner gets the year. Let me ask you something. If somebody did that, would that be the worst thing in the world? If you got 2 big guys, 2 big names, and they were like, we're going to fight 3 times. Every 4 months, there will be a fight. Winner takes the year.
This year, yeah. No,
I like that.
Interesting. Yes, because of injuries and all of the stuff that comes up that makes fights not happen, you know? And then you get a guy gets, again, 27 seconds total in the first 2 fights, and we need a 3rd one? You're going to breach the contract. I'm 2-0, and I have other stuff to do now. That being said, I agree with, now that I understand better, I agree with what both of you are saying. Joe's saying the winner of this, whoever wins this beef, is the best by a long way in that weight class. And Jace is saying it could end up being each other for a long time to come. And I agree with both of those things. Absolutely. This is one to watch. Keep an eye on these guys.
Speaking of people to keep an eye on, to watch for, we got no fights this weekend. So let's get into a big who you got fighter of the year 2021 draft. So I broke it down. There are going to be 8 rounds, 3 rounds just boxing, 3 rounds MMA, and 2 wild card rounds. We each draft our team. Due to a random selection, Joe got the first pick, then Jared, then myself. So now, starting off with the first of the 3 MMA picks, Joe, who is your first overall pick?
First, let me just tell you what my strategy was here in hopes that I wouldn't have too many repeats with you guys. I left off all Mexican fighters and anybody with a Saab backstory. I felt that was the way to go. If you're not Mexican and you have 2 parents, then you're probably not on my list. That's the route I take. That said, I will announce my first pick in the draft. His name is Stipe Miocic. He's got his rematch with Francis Ngannou. Could be fighting John Jones. He's talked about retiring. I think if he has an undefeated year and he retires, he goes out as the greatest heavyweight of all time in undisputed fashion. I'm going to ride Stipe this year.
Okay. Jared?
I love my guy on the board, Figueiredo. All day. I think he's got good fights, but nobody that can beat him, which is enough. He wants to fight every weekend. He ought to be able to pack 3 or 4 fights in. I think he wins them all. It's a no-brainer for me. That's Figueiredo.
So you have Figueiredo winning back-to-back fighter of the year? That's what you think?
How you Figueiredo?
I love that.
Oh, I'm actually surprised. You went Stipe, Joe?
Yep.
Then I'm going to take your boy. He's going to go up to light heavyweight, and he's going to become champ. And I'm surprised I got him at third. I'm going to take Israel Adesanya. Let's go.
That's great. That's a nice pick for you. I think he's in trouble this year. I think this could be the year where we find some of the kinks in the armor, so to speak, with Israel Adesanya. So you take him. Meanwhile, I'm going to take Justin Gaethje because now that Khabib's retired and I'm certain never coming back, I don't think anybody in that division can beat Justin, including Conor McGregor, especially Poirier. Name a guy, they ain't beating Gaethje. The human highlight reel is, to me, a strong candidate for Fighter of the Year.
All right.
I think she can. And that's it. If she can beat Nunes, Valentina Shevchenko. Because for all that, Joe, tell him why. Tell him why, Joe. You go ahead.
Because she's a warrior. First of all, do yourself a favor if you don't know enough about Valentina Shevchenko. I'm not going to say watch her videos of her fighting. Watch the dancing videos. You'll fall in love. Or even better, she's a weapons expert. Check out this beautiful Russian femme fatale sitting there. Pow, 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 pow. She's like a dream woman. She's also very well could be the best fighter in the sport, regardless of gender. The last time she fought Amanda Nunes, well, you could argue she gave the champ all she could in the first fight. I thought she won that second fight. Nunes clearly wanted no part of her in the second fight and seemingly doesn't want a third. I think that's a great fight for the women's game. Again, it could be either a passing of the torch or it cements the legacy of Amanda Nunes. But if I had to put my money on it, and I love Nunes so much, she's so great, I do think Shevchenko's figured her out, and I do think she could beat her.
But I don't think if Nunes wins, I don't think it's enough for her to get Fighter of the Year. So I get that. Outside of who I think would win that fight, I think if Shevchenko can win, it's enough for, that. And again, far and away the best. You win that fight. Who's the next fight?
Well, I think
we bringing in next.
I think she's looking at Andrade as another opponent. I think that's her next opponent. Actually, is going to be Andrade.
Yeah, okay. Either one of those girls beats her though.
And Whaley.
Oh God, she's a monster too.
Sure.
Don't give away my next pick. But yeah, that's everything I was going to say. Okay, Shevchenko.
Love it.
Thanks,
Jeff. All right. I mean, I was going to pick Shevchenko here. So
everybody was at their Shevchenko pick, apparently. I love it.
Wow, I got Figueiredo and Shevchenko, though. I'm feeling pretty good.
So I'm going to take my second favorite female MMA fighter. Not from the UFC. Kayla Harrison.
Ooh,
the former Olympian judoka, the PFL and Invicta's I don't think she's champion yet, but she is a beast. She just ragdolls women, and I'm taking Kayla Harrison, the first non-UFC.
Your kids know her, Joe. Your kids know her.
Yeah.
Did you know your kids know who that is?
Of course.
Kayla Harrison.
So sad.
She did a Impractical Jokers episode.
Yes. Yeah, that's the only reason I know who we're talking. That's the only reason. The only reason I know who you're talking about. That's insane. I appreciate you taking that garbage because you did set me up for Kamaru Usman, who's already beaten Covington, Woodley, Masvidal, whoever is lined up is going to lose to this guy. I think he's very much got to be in the conversation for Fighter of the Year.
All right, Jared.
Yeah, last pick is Zhang Weili. I think if Shevchenko doesn't, she will. And I think that little 3-pack you've got, man, like something's going to come out. There is a monster coming out of that. If you saw how dominant Jacek was, and then what happened toward the end, and I mean, these girls are monsters, man. And it's hard to see somebody racking up those type of wins. Aside from, you know what? Can I change my pick? That wasn't my final answer. Give me Peter Yan.
Okay.
Be honest.
You're going Peter Yan? All right, okay. And I am going to pick who I think is going to be the strawweight champion by the end of the year. And it's not going to be Weili Zhang. It's going to be Tatiana Suarez. This lady's a beast. A beast.
Can she make weight?
She can make weight. She's been injured for a while.
I like Suarez. But for Fighter of the Year, Jace,
this is going to be a breakout year. She's going to come in. She's going to steamroll everyone, get the belt. And that's Fighter of the Year right there.
Kayla Harrison,
Tatiana Suarez.
And Suarez.
And Israel Adesanya. I don't do the SpongeBob SquarePicks, Jared. I don't.
Or good ones.
No, these are all good ones. You'll see. But
I mean, Kayla Harrison, it looked like Murr was giving her trouble for a second or two there, man. She's serious. To be honest, that's the only person outside of the big groups that I took a look at. Could she come in and steamroll everybody? And Suarez, dude, she's big for that weight class, but if she can make weight, I don't know. I'd have a tendency to agree with you. Maybe she wins 3 or 4 fights and gets a title fight by the end of the year, and who knows? But that'd be a long list if I'm building fighters to get to Tatiana Suarez, where I'm putting together stories for Fighter of the Year.
No, I got the picks, and these are going to win.
I like it.
But, Joe, kick us off. Who is your first pick in boxing?
Bud Crawford, this is a no-brainer. Thank you. You could just give me the award now. I think this is Bud's year to shine. There's not a person in his division under or over him who's even in his class. I think he beat Spence, Thurman, Pacquiao, Porter. Pick a guy, and Bud's going to destroy him, tear him apart, and teach him a lesson. I think this is the year where all boxing fans, all fight fans, screw the Paul brothers, learn Terrence Crawford's name. Say his name. Bud Crawford, baby.
All right. I like it. Jared?
Yeah, no, I like it a lot. This has got to be I just drew a blank. Oh, that's what I want, is a guy named Lomachenko. I think he beats Lopez in the rematch, which is enough to catapult him a little bit. And then there are huge fights. He gets, let's say he gets Garcia after he beats Davis. Can you imagine he comes back and says, even though if those are his only 2 fights of the year, I beat Ryan Garcia and I beat Lopez in the rematch. That's a Fighter of the Year candidate all day. I think he's perfectly capable of doing both of those things. And that's what I'll take. Give me Loma.
Oh, okay.
Give me the underdog pick there.
All right. I figured you'd go this way, Jared, but I'll take her. I'm going Katie Taylor.
Katie Taylor.
No one's going to beat Katie Taylor. Katie Taylor's just going to dominate all the women. This is my SpongeBob Square pick. Joe?
Oh, good. Tyson Fury. Oh, my God. Dude, if you would have told me going into this I was going to get Tyson Fury and Bud Crawford, I would have been like, who am I picking with, Jace? I'm just playing, brother. I think Tyson Fury absolutely dominates this division. He's better than Joshua. He's already in Anthony with Joshua's head. He's gonna outwork him. He's gonna. I mean, I'm telling you, he wins this. There's. Put it to you like this: he's gonna win the fight the way Klitschko won the fight. He'll beat Wilder. He'll beat Dylan White. I mean, again, I think we know. Tyson Fury took Deontay Wilder's best punch and laid down flat, and it worked for about 7 seconds. I don't think anybody can beat Tyson Fury, plain and simple, and this is the year where I think he continues to set himself apart from all these other guys we've been hooping and hollering about the last couple of years.
All right, Jared?
I'm not going to take the guy I like next because you're not going to pick him. So give me Inoue.
Okay.
I don't see anybody down there beating this kid. He's more and more becoming a household name. He's fighting the best guys, and he's going to keep knocking them out. This is one of those Darchinyan, Hawaiian punch type kids that, man, explosive in a smaller weight class. This kid's a killer.
All right,
I think in a way, you make good points.
Hey, he's the GOAT in a way.
Yeah.
That's great. I'm gonna piggyback off Joe. The biggest fight to make in 2021 is gonna be Fury versus Joshua. And I said it before. I thought we had a rock, paper, scissors whole thing in the heavyweight division. I like the way Anthony Joshua matches up with Fury. I like Fury more as a fighter, but just because Joe took Fury, I'm going to take Anthony Joshua because if he wins that fight, and I think he can win that fight, that's a fighter of the year.
Are you taking Anthony Joshua because Anthony Johnson's not available? Oh, my God.
Well, stay tuned for my wild card
Unbelievable. Picks, so thank you for, I obviously boxing I've got this because my last pick's name is Josh Taylor. Come on. Are you guys? Whoa! I'll take all these SpongeBob Square picks if I must. Again, Josh Taylor. Who's going to beat Josh Taylor? I mean, I think the only guy legit I think could beat him is a Bud Crawford. Nobody else. Yeah, you're going to want to ride with me on this one, boys and girls.
Jose Ramirez?
He'll beat Ramirez.
I believe you.
Yeah, he'll beat Ramirez. He'll beat Pascal. He'll beat Pereira. I mean, there's nobody I don't think that he can absolutely He's a great fighter. Again, I think could be the year where America sees who is this guy? How do I not know about him? This could be his year if Bud doesn't completely own and dominate it, or Fury. God, my picks look amazing.
So this is this would have been one of my first picks, but I don't think you guys were gonna take it. I'm a little bit surprised nobody said Usyk if he could stay healthy. I think he's one of the best boxers on the planet. But the guy I like, if he can get the Canelo fight, he will win the Canelo fight. Artur Beterbiev.
Yeah.
Nobody's beating that guy. Nobody is beating that guy. Not in that weight class. Unless he goes up to heavyweight, which he just isn't big enough. Nobody's beating that guy. If he can just get a few big fights, he'll win by knockout.
Mm-hmm.
That's the monster.
Real quick. I strongly considered Usyk. I just don't love him as a heavyweight.
Yeah, same thing.
If he dropped, he would totally have been on my list. But where he is now, I don't like it.
Well,
it's the only reason I left him off. Yeah. I love that pick though, Jared. He was on my short list here of for sure. He might have been a wild card pick of mine now that you've ruined it. So thank you.
All right. And to round off the boxers, Joe, what was the notes you said at the beginning? The people you weren't going to pick to stay away from, so we didn't overlap.
Yeah, no Mexican fighters and nobody with a Saab backstory.
All right, I'm taking Canelo. Let's go.
Yes, you can have him.
Edison Miranda.
Oh no.
Look up Baxter. Look up Edison Miranda. Next time you have a chance, this is the guy like abandoned by his family and decides, you know what, I'm gonna find my mom, and travels across like 4 countries walking to find his mom, who then kicks him back out of the. Mind you, he was like 6 or 7 eating road. He had like this system to figure out if roadkill had been there too long or whether he could still it. Anyways, Edison Miranda's one of those backstories you're talking about. It's worth looking up if you like the sob stories, and he's my wild card pick just because, you know, I think he's like 51, but anything can happen. He's a comeback story for the ages.
I love it. Of course he is.
Give me Gary Sanchez.
You taking Gary with your wild card pick, Joe?
Is it my time for wild card pick now?
Yep, we're getting into wild cards now.
Well, give me my man Charles Oliveira. I mean, is there anybody hotter in the sport than that?
You're a fan?
Yes.
You took my wild card pick. Now you're a fan?
I am now. Yeah. Sorry.
Jace,
good pick.
Jace, you gotta hook me up, brother. You gotta hook me up with a clip of that shit he just said. That conversation that we just had with a back-to-back of what he said before Charles Oliveira's last fight about having 8 fights and being the guy who gives up, and anybody with a little determination who packed a lunch is gonna kick his ass, and then splice it in with him calling him the wild card fighter. Yeah, you
ready? Can I tell you what I wrote? I wrote, always a dangerous fight for anybody. Possesses elite skills, not an elite heart.
That's what I said. Oh, well, but okay.
He's dangerous. He's dangerous. He could win some fights. He's exciting. He's style points galore.
You're just giving Jace more material here.
I do worry, you know, in a Justin Gaethje fight. Come on, dead. No chance.
Oh yeah,
no chance.
I think
100%. But dude, the way this guy moves, the way this guy fights, he's like, to me, he's like striker. He's Uriah Hall without all the losses. You know what I mean? He's exciting. He's got the skill set. Again, and I do like Charles Oliveira. Don't get me wrong. And what I said about him last week, I stand by. I've seen it happen too many times. I've seen him tap quick too many times to say, look, this isn't a skill set. It's a mindset. And that mindset is a little bit on the weaker side. Maybe winning 8 in a row, man. Maybe it's clicking for him now. I hope so. I'm banking on it. He's my wild card.
All right. Jared, who's your wild card?
I think he just explained that was it.
Yeah, it sure was. Well, I'll take Willie here then. UFC female. She's badass. Like I said, there's a couple there. I don't think with Nunes, her, or Shevchenko you can go wrong. You know, one of those 3 will be a nominee on the short list for Fighter of the Year next year. No doubt. So I've got 2 out of 3 of them somewhere on my list there.
Okay.
I'll take it.
All right. And for me, my wild card coming way out of left field. It's a wild card for a reason. Screw boxing. Screw MMA. Rico Van Hooven. What you know about Rico Van Hooven? The heavyweight champ in glory. This dude's a beast. Knocks people out senseless in the kickboxing ring. He's flirted a little bit about hopping over. I know he wants to take a fight with Alistair Overeem at some point. I know he's teased that. I'm taking Rico Van Hooven. Fighter of the Year. Let's go.
Can I take a cartoon character here? Can I take Popeye for the win? Are you serious? Yeah. That's really
what you're Rico Van Hooven. Just because
he's not going to be Fighter of the Year. What in the world are you?
Just because you don't know kickboxing. Just because you don't know.
There's a better chance I'll be Fighter of the Year than he will. Better chance I win it. You're out of your mind.
don't know kickboxing doesn't make that a bad pick. So what's your second wild card, Joe?
You want to know my second one? You tell me who my wild card is. Who's my wild card? Tell me who my second one is.
The dude in the White House with the Chewbacca outfit and the horns.
That's right. That's right. Chewbacca bikini guy. That's my guy.
Got him.
I'll tell you who
you took my picture.
I cannot believe that you guys, I mean, everybody I wanted, I've been able to take. I thought, oh boy, I hope by the time I get to my wild card, I haven't. Marvin Vittori.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah, like I said, he's going to get his shot on Israel Adesanya, and he's going to beat a whole bunch of people up before he gets there, and he's definitely going to put himself in position. He obviously got to beat Israel. Easier said than done. Like I said, if you watch their first fight, boy, you could make the argument he already beat him. So it'll be interesting to see if he does get a rematch. But he's one of those guys, again, where I feel like not enough people know about him. Again, could beat anybody. I definitely think, given another shot at Adesanya, that he's gonna do the impossible.
I doubt it.
Dude, what's your second? I don't know, dude. I mean, I could see if Adesanya.
I like the way I make that impassioned argument. I don't think so. Yeah, fair enough. That's why we do a show. Yeah.
I mean, if Adesanya beats Blachowicz, who's to say he doesn't just stay at light heavyweight?
I don't think he's gonna win. I think he also might not like how he feels the next day. Fighting a little bit bigger. I'm telling you, it doesn't make sense. I think a lot of this is more, again, and I said this last week, I think a lot of this is more just people flapping gums. These guys don't want to. Again, if any of these guys really wanted to fight each other, if John Jones wanted Stipe tomorrow, Dana would make it happen. If Israel and John really wanted to fight, they would have already made it. Why wouldn't you? There's a lot of talking. There's a lot of posturing. We understand, I think, one thing right now. It's how much people value their record, especially if you're undefeated. Mm-hmm. And so you're going to be a lot more protective of the chances that you take.
Well, and that's the problem I have with you guys talking about Paul brothers and being so upset with controlling the narrative, when to me it's been obvious we've been controlling the narrative in these games for quite some time. We're just short of WWE controlling the narrative at this point. Most of the time we know who's going to win. Katie Taylor's odds were like 25-1. I put $50 on it, made $2.
Don't spend that all in one place.
Made $2.
Oh, all right.
No, but I mean, come on. That's a joke, obviously, but come on.
Yeah,
I
get what you're saying.
I want the best fighters, dude. I want to go back to take it all away and let's have the best fighters and let the fans and the promoters be the ones out there jabber-jawing, but it just isn't working like that right now.
All right. Jared, who is your second wild card?
We just said earlier that there's one division that has two really elite guys fighting each other. I already got one in the draft. So my wild card, in case he wins that fight against Jan, Aljamain Sterling.
Okay. I like that.
Hedging your bets, aren't you?
Yes, sir. Like I said, don't pick a winner there.
Bro, you better hope that trilogy doesn't get split.
I'll lose them both with a split,
Yeah, you're not wrong. But
wait, let me guess. Cain Velasquez.
Nope.
Damn it.
But another wild card, not boxing, not UFC.
A kangaroo.
The Minnesota Golden Gophers heavyweight Gable Stevenson. This dude's gonna win the NCAA tournament and be the best fighter of the year. The fighter of the year. Minnesota Golden Gopher Wrestling is the best for heavyweights, i.e. Brock Lesnar.
All right, I got a question for you.
Yo.
And I hope you don't take any offense.
That guy, Joe. How did we miss that guy?
Right. That's the obvious question I'm not going to ask is how did we miss out on this?
Gable Stevenson?
I've heard the name. I've heard the name. I guess my question is how in the name when we say fighter of the year, who's picking it? You? What is that how this works? What is the qualifications for fighter of the year? What is your guy going
a couple weeks ago, Joe?
What is your guy going to win that's going to put him in the conversation for fighter of the year, do you think?
See, I thought fighter of the year. When you asked, I thought that would be the qualifications. The guy would win.
Would be able to win fighter of the year.
We'll have a winner of this at the end of the year when they announce a fighter of the year, and one of our guys is that. Right?
Yeah. But I mean,
you're saying that guy, fighter of the year, is that UFC or boxing he's going to do?
He's going to do wrestling, and he's going to go and he's going to win a national championship, win the Pan Am.
Who's going to make him fighter of the year? It's my question.
Hey.
He might do all of the things you just said. In what capacity will he do that at a professional level and be a fighter of the year this year? Where do you see that happening is my question.
I see that happening when we debate it in December of this year.
I'm already going to vote against it, so there's no way it's getting through.
Okay.
I'm already vetoing it.
Whatever. Watch out for Rico Verhoeven and Gable Stevenson, fighter of the year candidates. Not
his nickname would be Down by the River in a Down by the River in a Vandenhoeven.
Oh, I love you, Jared.
Well, I cannot wait till December. Is there a trophy that I get for this, or what do I get for it? I'm just curious.
I think Figueiredo's the no-brainer there. So
I don't know how I got
right name on it,
dude.
I think like Jace. Actually, the one thing Jace said that was really good today was when he said, "You think Figueiredo's going to win it twice in a row?" That's the only that's my one knock on Figueiredo. Can he really top this? Can he top what he just did this year, next year in 2021?
Oh, yeah. Unless he goes up to bantamweight, no.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, but again, he was way up here. Can he stay up here for whole of the year? Maybe he does. But I mean,
he has weight issues.
The chances of him winning fighter of the year back-to-back years, I didn't like the odds of that.
Tough.
Again, not realizing that it's Jace decides who the fighter of the year is.
You remove that. If you remove this year, though, you remove him getting fighter of the year. I took that out and just look at who I think the best. He's the most likely guy to dominate next year from my perspective. So that's.
By the way, Jace, if your prediction is he's fighter of the year in 2024, then there might be something for your pick.
Hey,
I might even get behind that pick. 2024, he'll be the fighter of the year. Why not?
Hey, don't diss that you don't know Rico Verhoeven. Watch Glory Kickboxing. Watch that man.
I refuse to watch Glory Kickboxing.
Okay, well that's your bad, not mine. Learn.
Does it come out? Does it come out to the song? Ane. Rico.
All right. All right. Before we end the show, Jared, do what you always do and hit Joe and I with that flurry.
At this moment in our planet's history, our contact with one another as human beings is at an all-time low. And if you look at the statistics for depression, anxiety, and addiction, the need for our contact with one another is at an all-time high. During this time when we are in need of one another the most, we are wearing masks, standing 6 feet apart, and denied hugs and handshakes. I've theorized a metaphor for life wherein the ocean is the world, we are the stones, and the tide is the conflict in our life. The erosion process and softenings of the stones as the tide is sometimes calm and sometimes very choppy seems like a natural process, but I'm sure it doesn't always seem natural to the stones. Each a different size, shape, and color from any other, having all different kinds of impacts on all the other stones around it, just like itself, but none just like itself. as these constant interactions are smoothing out the rougher edges of all of the stones until they break. The stone comes into contact with another stone that's so rigid and hits it so hard that it changes the dimension of the stone and makes parts of it rigid. With edges sharper than it ever had in the past, the stone loses a piece of itself and in turn inflicts damage on all the stones around it. And then when we're doing it right, immediately following those kinds of collisions, the tide drags us back in and the stones closest to us absorb those sharpest edges and begin the painful healing process of making us smooth again. So during this time that we're all very obviously feeling the rapids, remember that the edges on a broken stone that's left outside of the ocean with no other stones to make contact with will have sharp edges that last forever and will always be broken. It is the conflict, the tide, and the close interactions with one another that allow this new stone to reach its full potential beauty. And our contact with one another during these difficult times that keep us running smoothly. It's more important now than ever before in our history to reach out to one another. Thanks, guys.
HHW Show Podcast returns January 5th with a new season, Road to the Royal Rumble. Hector, Frank, Jason, Ovi will be on the set with the latest news and takeaway. Follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and you can listen wherever you listen to your favorite podcast app.
Thank you very much for that, Jared. Thank you for that, Flurry. Thank you, Hard Hitting Wrestling Show, for that lovely promo. Thank you all for listening and watching today. Thank you, Joe and Jared, for joining myself. Make sure you check out clovercrestmedia.com to check out CMG Podcast Network. Throwing Jabs is proudly part of the CMG Sports Podcast Network family. Make sure you check out a bunch of other podcasts, 30 different ones. So make sure you go to clovercrestmedia.com to check it out. Also, make sure you subscribe to Clovercrest Media Group on Twitch, where later tonight, I believe all three of us will be there. We will be playing Among Us. We got a great lobby. Should be fun. Make sure you tune in tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening, and we hope to see you next time. Take care.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is our main event.